James isn't using that concept. James is just simply saying, you don't do what the law says to do. What a difference. All right, move on down. Back to James 1 and verse 25. But whoso looketh into the perfect law of liberty and continueth therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed. Well, that's works. See, that's works. He's not saying a word about grace. It's that keeping the law. Now, we're going to see it more and more as we come on through. All right, now verse 26. If any man among you seem to be, what? Religious. Now, I think most of you and most of my audience from coast to coast and all over Oklahoma know that I don't have much time for religion. It's not a good word. It's never used in a good light, except when James uses it here, that as keepers of the law, yes, they're religious. Now, Dwight just gave me a good definition. Can I use it, Dwight? I get all kinds of help, you know. Dwight was just giving me, before we started, a definition of religion. It's all the different ways of going to hell. Well, you know, that's about it, because most religion is doing exactly that. It's just simply leading people the wrong direction. You know, and something like this came up in one of my letters, and all I did, you know, I try to keep them short because I write in longhand yet, and I write back as short, as to the point as I can, and I just wrote back to this individual, too many people are being Pied Pipered. Man, I thought everybody that had been to grade school knew what that was, but the gentleman wrote back again. He said, I don't get what you're driving at. Well, I called him then, and haven't you ever heard the story? I think it took place in Europe, if I'm not mistaken, where the Pied Piper pied the pipes, and what did he do? He led, I think it was rats, wasn't it? Yeah, he led the rats all down into the river. Just literally hypnotized them. Well, see, that's what most of religion is doing to people today. They're Pied Pipering them. Oh, it sounds good. It appeals to the flesh. And they're following them like a bunch of dumb rats. Sad, but so true. All right, now, so James is using this legal approach that if you're going to look at that perfect law of liberty, let it have an effect on your life. But Paul teaches us that the law has no power to change your life. And so here again is where I can, without apology, say James knows nothing of Paul. And that's why in my introductions I try to make it clear that James is probably one of the first books written in our New Testament. Matthew might have beat him a little bit, but not much. So James is evidently written before the Spirit even intends him to allude to anything that Paul teaches. You just can't find it in here. I don't care how hard you look. All right, but it's still Scripture. Now, I guess I better use this verse. Come back with me, honey, to Timothy. Timothy, because I don't want people to get the idea, well, Les, if it's that way out, well, why should we even look at it? Well, no, I'm not saying that. For this very reason. 2 Timothy, chapter 3, verse 16. Always remember this, that even though I may maintain that this isn't written to us, that doesn't mean it's not profitable. Y'all got it? 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16. Some of you are still looking, and I always have to remember the TV audience is right along with you. Okay? Verse 16. All Scripture, all of it, from Genesis 1:1 to the last verse of Revelation, all Scripture is given by inspiration of God. And it's profitable. See, all Scripture is profitable. For doctrine, reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness. So just because James isn't addressed to us Gentiles under grace, that doesn't mean you can't profit from it. We're going to pick out little tidbits here and there that are still apropos.